Hiyo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV. Tonight's SmackDown continued to be its usual suck-down self. While it did feature a couple of matches with some very intense action and some very interesting things, for the most part, it was a very long and drawn-out 2 hours that bored me to sleep and at times had me very confused because I wasn't sure if I was actually watching SmackDown on Fox or if I was watching Nickelodeon back in 1980-something with one of my favorite shows. You can't do that on television.
I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Whew. Better watch out for that slime, and we're going to talk about all of that and so much more right here and right now. My name is Nick Nightmare, and you are watching the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show's SmackDown Review and Reaction Show. Let's do it.
The Sledgehammer Wrestling Show.
You know, and the best thing about this episode is what went down in the women's tag team division. You know, it was a pretty slow night on SmackDown, and that's usually been its MO. We're used to SmackDown sucking. We're used to it being a long, boring, just terrible Friday night, just a useless way of spending your Friday nights. And if you're a wrestling fan, you watch this stuff, and all you can think to yourself is, why? Why do we do things like put Bray Wyatt on the sidelines so that Braun Strowman can show up on SmackDown and continue to be a clown and be paired with a couple of nincompoops that think they're 15 years old and want to spend the whole night taking over the swerved truck and pull all kinds of pranks on the monster among men? Like we're supposed to find this funny. We have to watch Kayla Braxton get covered in green slime. We have to watch Braun Strowman's protein shake explode all over him. And then he gets mad. More! Braun's angry. And then we have to see the Miz and Morrison vandalize Braun Strowman's Buick or whatever the hell kind of car he was driving. Brand new black automobile in the back gets smashed to bits by Miz and Morrison. All for what? Why would they continue to incite a man that could destroy them by breathing on them? If I'm John Morrison, I'm looking at everything going on right now, and I'm really rethinking why the hell did I decide to return to this company? Ever since he's come back, he's played second fiddle to The Miz, and it's being played terribly. It's a bunch of hobo, just banjo music and all kinds of stupid stuff. All kinds of jokes and nonsense. Kiddie stuff. Nickelodeon-style stuff. Two terrible actors who think they're great actors who are doing nothing but bringing down the quality of a SmackDown that sucks as it is because they're part of a program that they shouldn't even be anywhere near. Why these two idiots are even still involved with Braun Strowman, I will never know. He beat Bray Wyatt. And since then, we have seen neither hide nor hair of Bray Wyatt or The Fiend. So that Braun Strowman can continue to play with these two jerks. And it's just terrible television. Just like every single time, we have to see bam, 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 bam. Vince loves me, and so they put me in all the stories, even though I don't belong there. Can you tell me why? One of the hottest things going today, right now on SmackDown, one of the reasons I tune into SmackDown is to enjoy the rise of Sonya Deville. I think her microphone skills and the way her character is coming across is one of the reasons why SmackDown is not a completely total poop hammer worthy show. But why they have her losing to Lacey Evans tonight is just retarded. It really is. And I'm sorry if you don't like that word, but there's no other way to describe it. It's just completely and totally a mental malfunction, just people that don't know what they're doing. You have somebody that you need to be elevating. You got Lacey Evans, who has no need to be a part of any of this, who's had her moment in the sun, who should be helping put new females over, but instead she's losing. And I don't care that Mandy Rose showed up and caused some sort of distraction. First of all, that's something that the heels are supposed to be doing. Babyface characters and good guy characters are not supposed to be doing those types of things and distracting and doing all that. That's what the heels do, in order to get underneath the good guy's skin. But I can forgive all of those things because it did evoke some pretty intense emotions from Sonya, which were befitting of her character. But the fact that she ended up losing this match makes me fearful of where we're going with the Sonya Deville character. Is the WWE truly going to elevate it up and build it and take it seriously when she's already taken L's? It's unnecessary. Just like having a 6-man tag, which we can't go a week or two without getting a 6-man tag of some sort, and this one was just ridiculous. If you continue to book Chad Gable and have the only source material for any of the people that are going against him be the simple fact that he's short, I have no interest. You have done the same story with Chad Gable since you turned him into this ridiculous Shorty G, and probably even before that character developed, if I'm remembering correctly, and everybody that goes up against him just calls him Little Man, and you're gonna come up short, and all these ridiculous dad-type jokes that he would tell you about your little short friend, or the shortest friend in your group, or more along the lines of bullying that you would hear in the schoolyard. And I know wrestling is supposed to be about confrontation and conflict, but if you can't come up with something better than, hey, I don't like you because you're short, you shouldn't be here because you're a little man, we sold that ship, we sunk that ship rather, over 20 years ago with the arrival of guys like Taz. The arrival of guys like Rey Mysterio, who's featured in a prominent story on the other show. How could you be putting down Chad Gable for being short when he's just about the same size as a Rey Mysterio, who's a former World Heavyweight Champion, former Royal Rumble winner, former Cruiserweight Champion on multiple times? Come on. Come on, you got to be better than that. You have to come up with better creative than that, because this is just the same story coming out of some different idiot's mouth. And in this case, it's Mojo the Bozo, and nobody cares what he's got to say. He's upset because Gronk's gone. Uh-oh. Mojo the Bozo didn't get to say goodbye to Gronk. So Mojo rallies. Whole entire motivation tonight is he's mad because he lost his buddy Gronk, and he ends up in a 6-man tag team when where he really should end up is back in catering or on the unemployment line with the other 50 plus people that got released, 50 plus wrestlers that are more useful to the WWE than Mojo the Bozo, whose only reason for being there was his connection to Rob the Gronkowski, and that's gone now. And that's gone now. So he should really be counting his blessings that he's still even employed. And the WWE just giving him the same shtick they gave Baron Corbin and everybody else who has stepped across the ring from Chad Gable makes me immediately disinterested. I don't care if you put the New Day in there and with any other tag team to make this, it's uninteresting. And what made this 6-man tag even worse, I don't mind that the New Day came out victorious. I don't mind that they're giving Chad Gable a win for some strange reason. But this is another instance where we are seeing guys like Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura on the losing end of situations. Sure, they might not have been the one that were rolled up and got the loss for their team here. That was Mojo the Bozo's whole existence for living tonight. But these guys cannot catch a break. Two of the finest and greatest wrestlers of all time are now being relegated to the most underutilized and underappreciated wrestlers that the WWE has ever had under their umbrella. And that's why I get worried when they're trying to push new people, because how long is it till the new flavor of the month guy just ends up being placed back where we see guys like Shinsuke and guys like Cesaro? If they could do that to them, they could do that to anybody. So who's really safe? And you do things like sacrifice Sonya Deville to Lacey Evans. That's the sort of thing you guys do to Shinsuke and Cesaro, which is why I have my reservations. What else was wrong with this show tonight? Well, we can dole out the poop hammer right now. We are going to drop the poop hammer, and you know where this one's going. For King Constable Dickhead Baron Corbin, who had a poop hammer-worthy match tonight, which is no surprise to any of you. We all know when we talk about Baron Corbin, the poop hammer usually comes out. But tonight, this match was absolutely ridiculous. The first match of the night featured the Money in the Bank winner, Otis, versus the King of the Ring, Baron Corbin. And as if that wasn't enough, the WWE felt like they needed to add a little extra gusto to this, so they let Otis steal the King's crown. Oh my God. What a tragedy. What a travesty. What is Otis doing stealing other people's property? Again, isn't he the good guy in this situation? Maybe he should have just hid the crown. Shouldn't be stealing things. You want to play pranks like The Miz and John Morrison, right? Why don't you do that and hide the crown? Either way, you're going to incite Baron Constable King Dickhead Corbin. And what preceded this, or what followed this rather, was a very terrible match. It was just boring. It was slow. It ended with a disqualification. Otis wins because Corbin's a sore loser and ended up hitting him with a chair. So why bother booking this match? If you're not going to let the Money in the Bank winner win clean over the guys in the ring against him, why bother having the match at all? Shouldn't you be building up Otis? But no, you put him with Corbin, and you're too worried about making Constable King Dickhead look bad, so we can't have him lose. We can't have him with his shoulders pinned to the mat. We can't have Otis get that. He'll win, but he'll win because Baron Corbin says so, and he'll have a disqualification. More poop hammer worthy than ever. Just a complete waste of Otis's time, a complete waste of our time, and a complete waste of SmackDown airtime. Didn't need to happen. I would have been satisfied just seeing Otis and Mandy walk in the back, talk to each other, maybe show them on another date. That would have been way more interesting than having to see what we've seen tonight involving Otis and Corbin. We continued tonight. Actually, the show began with a continuation of the Jeff Hardy sobriety incident from last week. Now, we all knew that Jeff Hardy wasn't drunk. We all knew that he wasn't the person responsible for the accident that befell Elias. This was nothing surprising today, as Jeff Hardy came out to clear the air. He says he was hit in the back of the head at the Performance Center, and then he woke up smelling of booze and alcohol. He thought he let his family down. He was all confused, and he didn't really know what happened. Next thing he knew, he was in handcuffs, and he was taken down to the police station. He passed a sobriety test and was released, which was how he made it back in time for the end of SmackDown last week. Now, as far as this storyline goes, I don't really have a problem with it. I don't mind when the WWE brings up real life things. I know there are certain people saying that it might be insensitive to be bringing up some of Jeff Hardy's personal demons once again. But I feel like it's very important to note one thing. That Vince McMahon or whoever it is that was behind this and thought this up, they had to go to Jeff Hardy and say, listen, we want to do this. So if Jeff Hardy is okay with it, and he signs off on it, and he's all in, and he's going to do this angle with Sheamus, if he's not complaining about it, then nobody else should be. If he's comfortable enough to face his problems this way, and he feels like it's not going to harm him personally or professionally, then good for him. Good for him. It's okay to blur the lines of reality and fiction. It often makes for the more interesting story, which in this case it is. However, I will say that they need better writing. One of the crutches of this show is just how terrible the creative is, and that they find one thing. They find one thing and they hang their hat on that thing. They can't come up with anything else for Sheamus to say other than to continuously call this man a junkie, take pot shots at his family, and then just say, you're just a junkie, man. How many times has Sheamus said the word junkie in the last 4 weeks since starting down this road with Jeff Hardy? I would love to know that tally. Probably about the same amount of times we've heard somebody call Chad Gable Shorty. Well, never mind Shorty, that is his actual name, but you know what I'm getting at. Somebody referencing Chad Gable's height. About as many times as we probably heard this. Over and over again. You're a junkie. You're a junkie. Can you be more creative? Can you write something compelling? This is a story that deserves some attention. Talk about his redemption. Talk about how he's finally beaten it. Sure, we've heard that before, but this time it's real. And maybe the fans get behind it. Maybe some fans don't. Maybe some people don't care. Maybe some people just want to see the man wrestle. And that's fine too. And the story will be okay with what they're doing. It's just they're making it so one note that I feel like I'm watching the same segment with Sheamus over and over and over again every time he's referencing Jeff Hardy. He's got one word he's going to go to. You know you're going to hear it again before all is said and done. After Sheamus had mentioned to Jeff Hardy that he was a letdown to his wife and was a letdown to his family way before what happened last week, Jeff Hardy had had enough and attacked Sheamus to end the opening segment and book the grudge match for Backlash, which will be Sheamus versus versus Jeff Hardy, obviously. And it's fine. It's really fine. It's just, some people are really touchy with the alcohol thing, but I don't mind it as much because they're not doing anything really that wrong. But they have to change it up just a little bit because it's starting to get boring and ridiculous. That's pretty much the show, with the exception of the good things that actually went down tonight. And there were a couple of very, very good matches, and those matches were Drew Gulak featuring Daniel Bryan defeating AJ Styles tonight. Now, the fact that I'm saying that is what makes this wrong. Okay, Drew Gulak and AJ Styles had a very fast-paced match tonight, very hard-hitting, very good, very entertaining matchup, but it was unnecessary. Why? Because you shouldn't be having a man who is going to be entering the finals of a tournament losing on his way to that matchup. You can't have AJ Styles losing to Drew. I mean, obviously they can because they did, but they shouldn't be having AJ Styles losing to anybody right now. He is a finalist for the Intercontinental Championship. Sure, he took the easy way out. He took his bye, but he took it. And you should not be sullying him on the way to that. He should remain pristine. His prestige should be intact. He shouldn't have any stains on his mark. He's going around calling himself the greatest champion the WWE's ever had, and then he goes out there and loses to Drew Gulak. Sure, it was a good match. And it was a surprise, shocking finish, so to speak. Nobody expected to see it. But now was not the time to do that to AJ Styles. You want to do that after you have Daniel Bryan beat AJ in the finals, and then AJ's all pissed off and he wants to get back at Daniel Bryan, so he enters into this feud with Drew Gulak. You could do that then! Not now. Making him look like a jackass. That's not taking anything away from Drew Gulak. The guy's a talented wrestler. He's a capable wrestler. And obviously he's able to hang with guys like AJ and Daniel Bryan. But now was not the time to do that. Having AJ and Daniel and their confrontation in the ring tonight was more than enough. You didn't need that to be a setup to an unnecessary match whose only purpose was to gain what? Are you gaining heat? Or, in a babyface way, are you trying to gain momentum for Drew Gulak? Why? Are you trying to say this is going to affect the mindset of AJ Styles going into a match with Daniel Bryan? Why? Why? There's more than enough, being that the next thing AJ is supposed to be doing is being in the finals of the Intercontinental title tournament, that they didn't need to do any of this. AJ's promo tonight was, okay. AJ's not really known for being the best promo in the world, but when he does well, he does well. Tonight, he was just okay, but Daniel Bryan continues to prove to be one of the greatest mic men of all time. Maybe underrated as opposed to guys like CM Punk and Samoa Joe, who really just tear it up. But since coming back, I think Daniel Bryan has really proven that he is superior on the microphone. His intelligence speaks volumes, and the way that he reveres the Intercontinental Championship, the way he wants to represent the title as its champion, it's great. It's great. I have a little bit of an issue with it being pretty much the same thing that AJ's issue was, where having an open challenge seemingly for the Intercontinental title every week so that Daniel can be a fighting champion and defend the title and give opportunities to people who maybe never got opportunities before is a little bit of a double-edged sword, because while that opens up the door for many possibilities of many great matches, many first-time matches, or many classic matches to be had for another time, like a Daniel versus a Shinsuke, or Daniel versus Cesaro, or Daniel versus Sheamus for the Intercontinental Championship, you have the possibilities of Daniel versus Jeff Hardy, Daniel Bryan versus Matt Riddle. When he comes up, there are great possibilities there, but you don't want the handout. I don't like the handout mentality of that. Like AJ Styles mentioned tonight, he was happy to take his handout and get to the finals, but he's not going to give handouts to anybody who doesn't deserve it. And to me, especially with the Intercontinental Championship, you should have to fight and earn your way for the opportunity to have a shot to challenge Daniel Bryan. He should be defending his title or going out and having his matches against quality opponents like a Kevin Owens, or he's on Raw right now, but you get the picture. Sami Zayn comes back. You want to see Daniel Bryan versus Sami again with the championship on the line. It's set to be a great matchup. And these are great things for wrestling in the future, but by having other people just be handed opportunities one week after the other, it may become stale, it may become boring a little bit quickly, but I don't like that aspect of it. I feel like you need to earn your opportunities, but I'm a little bit more old school, and in today's time when they need things to keep moving like this, I guess they're, if they even give it to Daniel Bryan, and that is what they do with the Intercontinental Championship going forward with Bryan as the champ, it may burn out very quick. It may not. We all know from when John Cena did it and when everybody else who has done it with the United States Championship, it never truly lasts all that long. It goes for a couple of weeks and then the WWE kind of drops it, which could be the case here, but we'll have to wait and see. But again, this was an unnecessary matchup, and AJ Styles should definitely not have lost. After that match, we had the six-man tag. Shorty G and the New Day defeat Cesaro, Shinsuke, and Mojo DeBozo in a match that, this match was okay, but six-man's just, I don't care. There's nothing at stake. There's nothing going on here. It's just another six-man, some good spots, some intense action, pretty good, but I didn't care. I cared as much about this six-man as I cared about Braun Strowman discovering his destroyed car after the Miz and Morrison broke it up. And then finally, one of the security guards outside squealed on Miz and Morrison and had told Braun Strowman where they were, which was hiding in the van over there. And then Braun Strowman went over and flipped the van, while we heard Miz and Morrison's terribly acted screams as if they were terrified for their lives. And then Braun Strowman walked away, kept telling them that he's going to get them. You know, I'm going to kill you and whatever. Flipped the van over because he couldn't get in. And then he left and walked away. And this was very, very terrible stuff. All night long. Whenever this happened, I sat here like this. Because it's just an embarrassment. It's a damn embarrassment to professional wrestling. Thankfully, in the main event tonight, which I didn't think was going to hold up, I didn't think it was going to deliver the way it did. We're not talking a 5-star classic, but we're talking a damn good tag team matchup here, and the WWE pulled the trigger and did the right thing. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross did not need to be the women's tag team champions right now. In fact, they do not even need to be a team. It's great if they became friends in real life through this and maybe they want to stay together as a team. That's one thing, but it's really unnecessary. Really, really is. Never really was a fan of the pairing. I don't think they meshed that well together. I know opposites attract and all this, but it just never came together for me. They don't have an official team name. They don't have a team song. They're not really a tag team. Okay, and you can kind of say the same for Sasha and Bayley. However, Sasha and Bayley were the first ever women's tag team champions, and this is the first time since losing the championships that they are going to even be able to have the chance to capture them back. They never ever had a rematch, and so here we are with their first opportunity to get the titles back. Bayley and Sasha have this little bit of a heat going on. They keep turning up the temperature on it and then taking the flame down just a little bit, and it's being done intentionally. And I like the way they pulled it off tonight. The matchup between the action between the girls, the matchup itself was just fine. And I think that came off because Nikki Cross worked her ass off in this matchup. She took a majority of the offense from Sasha and Bayley, while Alexa played on the outside waiting for the hot tag. When Alexa did finally get the hot tag, she did actually deliver some pretty good maneuvers for once. She looked like she was comfortable and wasn't that bad of a match. There wasn't really any botches that I could really remember to speak of. And the main story of this match still is Sasha and Bayley, because Sasha at one point wraps up Nikki Cross in the bank statement. She has this match won. But Bayley got Sasha with a blind tag and called Sasha to release the bank statement so that Bayley could apply the bank statement onto Nikki Cross instead. This plan almost backfired on the girls, and they almost ended up losing the match. But in a strange turn of events, Sasha would end up back on the inside with Nikki Cross. Alexa Bliss tried to make the save, but was held back by Bayley, and Sasha and Bayley would win this match. But Sasha did not take kindly to Bayley's actions in this match, and there was a moment where they caught her face and her expression was like, bitch, you did not just do that, and it was priceless. And it was a great way for the WWE to be telling this portion of the story, and giving them the championships gives meaning to the women's tag team titles because of the story that's happening between them. It's going to immediately make it more interesting, just because now the tag team champions, who are newly crowned tag team champions, are going to be at odds with one another in certain ways. Bayley's going to continue to be over boastful and probably just really let all of this go to her head, almost as if Sasha doesn't exist, and then Sasha's going to have to put her in her place. Or maybe at some point Bayley, on the way to SummerSlam, if we're ever going to have a SummerSlam, costs the Boston Connection their championship, which sets the stage for an either further dissolution between them. It's a slow burn process. We've talked about it before, and it was starting to get a little bit annoying, but adding the new flavor of the Women's Tag Team Championship to what is going on here, building the tension between Banks and Bayley while allowing them to win these championships, have Bayley now be a dual champion, Sasha Banks still somewhat in the background. She's not going to want to stay there for too long, but this was a fine way to go off the air. Bayley and Banks were just really over celebrating at the end. Didn't even seem like they cared about the miscommunication. And next week, if you have any reason to watch SmackDown all year, it's going to be next week, because Daniel Bryan will take on AJ Styles in the finals of the Intercontinental Championship Tournament, which may be the finest match the WWE produces all year long. Even given the circumstances, I feel like this is one of those matches that you guys have to tune into. And I'm not one to tell you guys to sit through a suck down, but this suck down is going to feature a match that it just can't possibly be bad. And with the Intercontinental Championship on the line, I feel like they're going to take it to the next level. Hopefully, whoever books this show gives AJ and Daniel the main event, gives them 20 minutes at the very least to put on a clinic out there and show the world why people consider the Intercontinental Championship, the Workman's Championship, as two of the best workhorses in history are set to tangle for, to some, what is the richest prize in the game. Thank you guys so much for joining me here tonight for this review of SmackDown. If you enjoyed yourself here tonight, now would be the time. If you're still sitting here at 31 minutes, to smash that thumbs up. If I made you laugh, if I made you cry, if I made you understand why, SmackDown did have a few moments of goodness, but for the most part continues to be a one-way ticket to Sucktown. All you have to do is hit that like button. Share this video with each and every one of your wrestling buddies all over the wrestling world, especially if they need a place to call home so that they too can bring the hammer down on the WWE, no matter what piece of crap show they're trying to throw your way and call a professional wrestling show. My name, ladies and gentlemen, is Nick Nightmare. This is the team, Thor the Sledgehammer, the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, his tag team partner, the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in all the world, Mr. Blue the Snowball. The most important member of this team, as always, is each and every one of you Sledgeheads out there. Thank you so much for pushing us over the 2,500 subscriber mark as we continue to inch closer to that 3K and then hopefully to 10K and beyond much sooner than later, and that all depends on you. So please consider giving us a subscribe if you enjoyed yourself here tonight and you want to continue to see us bring the hammer down on the world of professional wrestling. We do have some other things in store. It is taking a while to get things going, and I want to expand to some gaming. I want to start talking about TV shows and stuff again. I don't have all the time in the world, but the time I do have, I want to continue to spend with all of you guys right here on YouTube. Maybe we'll start Twitching. I don't know. I don't know much about Twitch. Maybe we'll do that. If you guys know anything about the Twitch streams and all that shit, hit me up in the comments section or on Twitter or Instagram. Maybe you guys can help me out. Leave me some suggestions of some things you'd like to see. We got The Last of Us Part 2 coming out. Maybe we can do that together. I don't know. I'd like to hear from you guys. Maybe we'll do some more wrestling lists. What do you guys enjoy? Give me some suggestions. Hit up that comment section with all of those. And also, how did you guys feel about tonight's episode of SmackDown? If you watched it, of course. And if you didn't miss much. But make sure you watch next week. And don't forget to watch everything else we have on the channel, which will be in the annotations up above if you missed the Monday Night Raw review or everything else that we've been covering in this pandemic time, in this terrible time in the United States. We are here to continue to bring you guys some quality entertainment and let you forget some of the shit that's going on in the outside world. That's my job. Hopefully you had a good time. That, my friends, is going to do it. We are out of here, and we will see you next time right here on your new favorite wrestling show, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.com. Will next week be any good? I don't know.
I don't No.